Imagine a powerful queen so fierce, so respected, that she actually held more military authority than her husband, the king. A woman who ruled with an iron fist, led armies, and held a title no other Maya woman had before. She was lost to history for centuries until archaeologists accidentally stumbled upon her tomb in the middle of the Guatemalan jungle. Today, we're talking about Lady Cabell, the supreme warrior queen of the Maya civilization. What is going on, everyone? I'm Kevin Munoz. Today is Monday, March 10th, and welcome to the Leo Podcast, your go-to for insightful discussions on a variety of educational topics with a focus on issues impacting the Latin American community. March is Women's History Month, and this past Saturday was International Women's Day. So for the rest of the month, we're highlighting badass women from Guatemalan history, leaders, warriors, revolutionaries whose stories deserve to be told. And today, we're kicking things off with a woman so powerful that even after her kingdom fell, people kept honoring her for centuries. Before we dive into this compelling episode, a quick shout out to our fantastic supporters at patreon.com/latinoamericaneo. If you want to support the podcast and help keep these episodes going, consider joining our Palomitas community. And for my Patreons, I've got an extended version of this episode where we go even deeper into Lady Cabell's legacy, the power struggle of her time, and what her tomb reveals about ancient Maya beliefs. So if you want more of this story, you know where to find it. But don't worry if you're not a Patreon yet, this episode is still packed with great content. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the story of Lady Cabell, the supreme warrior queen. Alright, so let's set the scene. It's the late classic period of the Maya civilization, around 672 AD. At this point, the Maya world is full of powerful city-states constantly at war with each other. One of the major players is the Snake Dynasty, an empire that controls vast territories, including the city of El Peru, Huaca, located in what is now Petén, Guatemala. Lady Cabell was born into this powerful Snake Dynasty. She wasn't just any queen. She was given the title of Kalumte, which I hope I'm saying right, which translates into Supreme Warrior. That meant she outranked her husband, King Wakkinich Balam II, when it came to military authority. Let's pause for a second. In most ancient civilizations, women in power were rare, let alone a woman leading armies. But Cabell, she wasn't sitting on a throne while her husband handled battles. She was leading the fights herself. She ruled alongside her husband for at least 20 years, from 672 to 692 AD, and her job was to keep the kingdom of El Peru Huaca under the control of her family, the Snake Dynasty. This put her right in the middle of one of the biggest power struggles in Maya history, the war between Calakmul, where her dynasty ruled, and Tikal, another major city-state. And guess what? She was good at her job. Cabell was a force to be reckoned with, and her military leadership played a huge role in keeping her kingdom strong during one of the most intense periods in Maya history. For centuries, Lady Cabell's story was pretty much forgotten until 2012, when archaeologists made a mind-blowing discovery at El Peru Huaca. They weren't even looking for a tomb. The excavation team, led by David Freidel, was focused on uncovering ritual sites, altars, shrines, things like that. But then they came across something huge: a royal burial chamber. Inside, they found jade jewels, pottery, and an intricately carved alabaster jar. This jar was key because it had the face of an older woman carved into it, along with glyphs that identified her as Cabell. This was a massive deal because usually, even when archaeologists find royal tombs, it's hard to say exactly who they belong to. But in this case, the evidence was clear. This was the final resting place of the greatest warrior queen in Maya history. Even crazier, the place where her tomb was found had been a sacred site for generations, even long after her kingdom fell. People kept returning to honor her, proving that she wasn't just another ruler, she was legendary. So why should we care about Lady Cabell today? For one, her story challenges the idea that ancient civilizations were always male dominated when it came to leadership and war. Here was a woman leading armies and ruling a kingdom at a time when most women were expected to stay in the background. And beyond that, her story is a powerful reminder of how much history is still waiting to be discovered. Think about it. For centuries, we had no idea she existed. How many figures like her, especially women, have been lost to history? This is why archaeology is so important. Every time a new discovery is made, we get a clearer picture of our past. And for those of us from Guatemala or with ties to Latin America, these discoveries aren't just academic. They are our history. Lady Cabell's story is proof that our ancestors weren't just building pyramids and writing hieroglyphs. They were ruling empires, leading battles, and leaving legacies that we're still uncovering today. Lady Cabell was a badass in every sense of the word. A warrior, a ruler, and a leader whose story almost disappeared forever. But thanks to archaeology, her legacy is back in the spotlight where it belongs. That's it for this week's episode of the Leo Podcast. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to share it and let people know about the Supreme Warrior Queen of the Maya. And if you're part of my Patreon community, shout out to my palomitas. Stick around for an exclusive extended episode where I'll dive even deeper into the politics and military strategies of Lady Cabell's reign. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week as we highlight another incredible woman from Guatemalan history. Don't forget to subscribe to the Leo Podcast for more updates, and as always, thank you for tuning in, and a special thanks to our Patreon supporters for making this show possible. If you learned something new from this episode, please don't forget to follow, rate, and share the podcast. I'm Kevin Munoz. I'll catch you in the next episode, and as always, mi gente, stay informed and stay empowered.